All right, I'm gonna place my hands on my heart. Take that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So incredibly grateful for this opportunity to come together to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to be a healing presence in this world, to know that we are healed, we are perfect, whole, and complete. And we are willing to allow whatever is blocking our flow of love, whatever we think seems to be blocking our flow of love, we're allowing it to fall away, to dissolve back to the root cause in all directions of time and space, to the nothingness from which it came. We're grateful for our masterful helpers, our um, earthly and heavenly helpers, our um, all those here on earth and all those in the heavenly realms. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, supporting the technology that we get to use to come together, supporting all those here and all who may listen later. We're grateful for our willingness to be open and receptive, to receive the insights, the wisdom, the clarity, to remember that the kingdom of heaven is ours right here and right now, and we are fully open and willing to accept it. And we're grateful to share all of those gifts, all of the blessings, all that we are, all the love with Mother Earth and all her beings, because we are one. In grace and divine gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. Hey, Carol. Hey, Kathleen. So we are in, and Hamira, we are in our Course in Miracles, the Purple Book, the complete and annotated edition by Circle of Atonement. And yeah, what's his name? My gosh, his name just completely.
Robert Perry.
Thank you very much. A bit of a senior moment there. And so we're on, in my book, it starts on page 28, where miracle Principles of Miracles number 36 through 40. And I'm going to start us with 36 because I had to read that one a few times before I could go, okay, I get it now. So Principle of Miracles number 36. Miracles are examples of right thinking. Through miracles, reality contact at all levels becomes strong and accurate, thus permitting correct delineation of intrapersonal and interpersonal boundaries. As a result, the doer sees the truth as God created it. This is what is meant by the principle on perspective adjustment. And when I first read it, I went, I didn't understand a word of it. And then I read the little notes at the bottom, number 74 and 75, and that helped. Reality contact refers to being in touch with reality as opposed to one's own fantasies and delusions. Psychosis, for instance, is marked by loss of reality contact. According to the reference here, by making possible strong reality contact, miracles allow us to correctly delineate internal boundaries, perhaps the boundary between body and spirit, or the boundary between the roles of the conscious, superconscious, and subconscious, and external boundaries, perhaps appropriate physical, mental, emotional boundaries between ourselves and others, or the boundary between what we are responsible for and what others are responsible for. This reality contact eventually becomes so strong that we can see ultimate reality, the truth as God creates it. A miracle rearranges the order of perception and places the levels in their true perspective. And I thought, okay, how can I relate to that in my seeming 3D life? And I thought the first thing that came to my mind was the thing that I was talking about last week, where I felt like I did something horribly wrong, and then another experience, either the same day later or the very next day, where I felt betrayed, and how I was able to relate that to um, my ancestors, my father with his fears, my great grandfather with his seeming wrongdoing and incarceration. And then I was able to go even further than that, relating it to um, my Sicilian and Irish background. Because then I could see, like, when I think about, like, the Sicily has been invaded and invaded and invaded and invaded. And so, um, am I an ancestor of one of the invaders as well as those that were invaded? And in that sense, I can say, oh, holy cow, there are so many things that I could have done horribly, horribly wrong. And there are many, many ways that I could have been in such fear that I would feel like I have to watch my back for everything. And so, and same with my Irish ancestry. And so, what I'm realizing in this is what a gift it was for me to have those seeming experiences in this uh, incarnation, because I get to see the oneness. And I know that that oneness goes beyond my own lineage as well, obviously, way beyond what I can even fathom. But it also helps me to understand why it is so important for me to claim my responsibility of being um, the salvation of the world, just as we all are. Because as long as I'm seeing myself as being somebody that has done something horribly wrong, or somebody that needs to watch their back, and not trusting in the flow of love that everything is exactly as it is supposed to be, um, I am continuing to contribute to those experiences. So miracles are examples of right thinking. When I'm in my right mind, I know that I never could do anything horribly, horribly wrong, and neither can anybody else. There is not a single thing that anybody can do that would make them unworthy of love in the eyes of God. And yeah, so that's where that's where my mind went this morning when I read that. Anybody else like to share what they
Can I
thought?
ask a quick question before? So when you said I'm contributing to that, I didn't understand that part. What did you mean when you said as long as, I don't know what you said. They said I'm
Yeah,
if I'm not aware, I'm contributing to that same
yeah.
thought
As
process.
long as I am affirming that I did do something horribly wrong, and I need to watch my back. As long as I am believing that and acting on those false beliefs, I am contributing to that. As soon as I remember that there that could not be possible, that I am a thought in the mind of God, and so I am as holy can be. That's when I'm more in the miracle mindedness. Does that
Uh,
answer your
yes,
question, Mira?
yes,
Okay,
yes. Thank you so much.
you're
Yes.
welcome. And then I think Deborah and Kathleen had something to share.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a little. I think it's kind of humorous, and I thought it'd be a good way to start out. But anyway, I had a neighbor that stopped by the other day to help me with something. She's 80 years old, and she was telling me that she's been married to her husband for 65 years. And then she said real seriously, and in those 65 years, we've only had one argument, and it's continued for 65 years.
Yeah, that's about right. That's a great example. Thank you, Deborah. Love that.
You're welcome. And she kind of rubbed her fists together a little bit as she was telling me.
I bet. That's funny. Kathleen.
Oh yeah, I just was rereading parts of Zero Limits, and I just opened it up and started reading it, and about how we're caught in a matrix of beliefs, and so anyone that we hear about or comes into our experience in any way, we are responsible for, and that all we need to do is open up, cleanse all day long, and that's all we have to do. It's like this. Miracles are examples of right thinking. So reality contact at all levels becomes strong and accurate. It sounds like the same thing that happens when you chant Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
You stay in the inspiration phase instead of in the past, and that you're asking for forgiveness if any part of anything I'm doing is affecting this other person in any way, in a negative way, so that they can't get out of their matrix of what they're creating. And then just the I love you, everything and everyone just wants to know they're loved. Like when they're going for a walk and they walk past those barking dogs, and Hugh Len turns and says, I love you to the dogs, and they stop barking. And it just, this kind of reminded me of that Ho'oponopono process. For some reason, it's getting our minds out of the past and turning over control to God, and only acting on inspiration, and really watching our minds, just all the daily lessons, just so much watching our minds and what we're allowing in there. But that was a great reminder that I'm responsible for everybody that I hear about who might have a sore toe or something, and that's okay, because we're all one, and I can just pray for my sister's knee and my sister's back, and by doing Ho'oponopono, because some part of me is creating that reality. So yeah, so miracles are examples of right thinking. Yeah, that just was what came to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathleen. Love that. Carol.
Another thing I'd like to share just briefly, if I could, is, I've really been trying to understand what God is for me, not what other people have told me God is, but really what God is in essence. And I read this saying the other day that, we grow up trying to please people to get what we want. And I thought, as long as we see God, view God as a corporeal being, the big guy in the sky concept, we're playing out those same kind of behaviors, trying to, get what we want by pleasing.
Yeah.
Whether it's, doing more good or doing more service work or whatever we, decide it is that we need to do to please this being called God. And anyway, it just kind of gave me some insight, and I'm looking at other behaviors that we develop as children to get our needs met, and how we then put those onto this relationship with this God.
Yeah, because when we come into this world, it feels like our parents are our gods, because that's all we know at that moment. Well, that's all we know in this 3D level. In our minds, we really know everything. But we have that instinct of, in order to survive, I have to make sure that I can get what I need from these adult beings.
Yes.
Thank you, Deborah.
And I think so much depends on our view of God, how we see this being. If we
Yeah.
see them with human characteristics, then we play out those human behaviors.
Yeah. And if we see God as outside of ourselves too,
Mm.
there is nothing outside of ourselves. God is within us. We are within God. There is no separation. And it takes, I mean, practice to actually embody that, and get to a point where we can go, in the moments when we're feeling lost or separate or sad or depressed or angry or whatever, to get to that point where we can say, it's just not true. My mind is the mind of God's.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that changes our perspective too, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Carol and then Carla.
Before I even share what I thought I was going to share today, listening to you talk with Deborah, what hit me was, if I know that everything is inside of me that I need, that totally discounts that God can be separate. If I'm part of God and God's a part of me, which is inside of me, that totally dismisses any idea that God's out there someplace. If everything is within that we need, that our life depends on, is inside of us, then that totally discounts any separation, doesn't it?
It does.
I just heard it. I just heard that while you were talking to Deborah, that connection, that if God's within me and I'm in God, how can we ever be apart?
Yeah.
We can't. And so it just hit me. Just that understanding just hit me. Yeah, real strong. Real
Yeah.
strong. And what I wanted to share was number 39, and it's very personal to me. The miracle dissolves error because the spiritual eye, which we learned was the mechanism of miracles, because what the spiritual eye perceives is true from the before, from the number 38. So the miracle dissolves error because the spiritual eye identifies error as false or unreal. This is the same as saying that by seeing light, darkness automatically disappears. And then the explanation. Darkness is a lack of light. It does not have unique properties of its own. It's like a false thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real. It is an example of the scarcity fallacy from which only error can proceed. Truth is always abundant. Scarcity leads to here we go, Carol. Scarcity leads to overeating and other false drives. It's a drive. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I recognize it as that, or has been in my life. Abundance eliminates these. Those who perceive and acknowledge that they have everything have no need for driven behavior of any kind. Now, a few years ago, I was in a class, a Jennifer class, and I said something about being upset about trying to eat a certain way and it not working for me, okay? And someone else in the class raised their hand and said, that's an attachment, Carol. And I never understood really attachment, until that moment. That I was putting so much emphasis on what I eat and my weight and how I weighed and blah, 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 and all that stuff. And at that moment, I gave it up. I totally gave up the whole idea of being attached to food in this way, and weight, and monitoring my weight and being, making it this God, that I had made it in my life. I just today realized that it was scarcity, that what I was driven by.
Yeah.
Overeat, that I didn't have enough, that for some reason I had to eat in order to feel full, satiated, taken care of, accommodated, whatever you want to use, whatever word, and that I never linked it with scarcity before. And for a long, long time in my life, we lived, as a younger couple with kids from paycheck to paycheck. And so therefore, yes, I had a relatively poverty outlook about things because we didn't have a lot of savings. We didn't have a lot of, we had what we needed. We got what we needed. God provided, but it was like always on the edge, there, if we had to go 6 months without a paycheck, that would have been scary. And so, yes, I never made these connections. And this really, really, really spoke to me on so many levels that I know I have everything, but I never thought about scarcity and abundance in terms of what I eat, how much I eat, why I eat. And I know there are so many people in our classes and in the community that have this same, I don't want to say, challenge, I guess. And I just feel like, the light really got shed on so much from my past. And that was the darkness. The scarcity equaled the darkness, and there wasn't any. And there isn't any, and there never will be. And so that whole thing changes my entire attitude toward eating. And I trust that as the days go by, I will be shown exactly what's right for me in terms of needing to eat, having to eat, not allowing myself to maybe even fast or have anything other than complete satiation, which has always been my thing. So I am very, very grateful. This was very personal to me. And I hope that it maybe would help somebody else. I never connected the food issues with scarcity and abundance. Never made that connection.
Yeah.
So on many, many levels, these miracles are really revelatory for me. So I thank you guys. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Love you too. Yeah, all of the ways that we self-sabotage, all addictions, we're trying to fill a hole that we think
Yes,
we have that
yes.
doesn't
Yep,
exist.
yep, yep, yep.
Thank you, Carol. Carla, and then Catherine.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I first started out with something came up with me with Miracle 40 and then 39, which Carol already did, but I'll just go to what's happening. And really, since I raised my hand, probably 3 things have happened, so I'll pick one. So it seems like we're here in this place and we didn't have internet, and David finally found a service and we got it. And it seems like every day when I wake up, it's not working. And so I'm using the first internet. So but here's the key. We're all co-creating together. There's only one. So I don't make the no internet alone, because we're all co-creating together. But what is mine is how I respond to whatever's happening. If I respond with upset, then I'm saying, oh, you have created wrongly. No, then I am joining them in the wrong-mindedness or whatever you're going to call it, but I'm joining them. And so I am willing, I'm interested in staying centered, I guess. But yeah, so I was just going to share a poem too. I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's very appropriate, but I'll read it. So, when it seems, I tell myself, that's the name of it. When it seems like I am alone, I'm not. I tell myself I am always supported. When it feels challenging, very challenging, hard, it isn't as it seems. I tell myself we truly don't know what anything is, let alone what it is for. So I am willing to allow life to unfold by following guidance without attaching meaning, without needing to know why. Who wants and needs to know why anyhow? To become a leader, I first become the ultimate follower and lead without words, by example, without needing to know why. So
Say that again, Carla.
we're here. I'm here. Okay, it's Dave. Did I lose my audio?
You did for a second, but I can hear you now.
Okay, my internet it's going out. So I just utilize everything to happen. So it's because we're all co-creating together. Did I stop speaking? Anyhow, that what is mine is how I respond to whatever is happening. That's how I create. And that's what I don't need to know why. Why is it happening? Why am I done? What if all I need to do is stay focused on. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Catherine.
Oh, thank you. And Carla, that was I don't know, I thought that poem was appropriate because the other thing I had written down was something from Rumi that says inner peace doesn't come with understanding, it comes with trusting. And I thought, gosh, that's what all this miracle stuff is about, is trusting. And I had a situation this week with a friend who just wrote a nasty gram. I mean, it's a friend. And, her opening sentence was, I am sick and tired of your peace and love shtick. Maybe I told some of you this. And I did laugh because I thought, oh my goodness. I mean, it went on. It was pretty condemning. And then I thought, oh my goodness. Miracles are examples of right thinking. So there's something going on here for her that I cannot see. So I thought then, Kathleen, thank you for the reminder, because that's what I went to. Immediately, I went to Ho'oponopono. And I actually did write just an apology saying I didn't, I'm so sorry. That wasn't my intention. And I left it at that. I just left it at that because I thought, how often we can jump to hurt, upset. I mean, because you think about it, and we're in a world that we're surrounded right now with all kinds of stuff we could be upset about. It's just kind of maybe it's been always like this, but in this place we're in at this time, it feels like that. We're just surrounded. So I love the comfort of staying present in this work, that we are here to be love. And you know what? My first thought that was going to come out of my mind is, this is not easy work. Um, uh, and then I wanted to say, well, maybe it is easy. We make it hard. And so I guess I just want to say I appreciate the focus that we are trying to have in coming to this. And the only other comment I was just going to make was, as I've been reading in this purple book, I'm going, oh my God, this is just overwhelming. I went back and looked at the blue book versus the purple book, and there's just, I see why they edited. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. I know it can feel confrontive. And it's just like, what you were saying with your friend, like if we take things personally, then, oh my gosh, we can be offended by every single thing that we see and hear in this world. As long as we're not taking it personally and we're just seeing that every single thing is for our highest good. There is no exception. And realize that everything that is presented to us is an opportunity for us to have a healing within ourselves. If we see something that we think is, sad or bad, or, whatever reaction we have to it, even if we think it's good, or, it's an opportunity for us to go, what is it within me that is contributing to this? Are there things that I can let go of and not have an attachment to being super spiritual, or not have an attachment to thinking that I'm a bad person or a wrong person or a stupid person, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to what I shared in our Masterful Living WhatsApp group about how when I was in, it was junior high school, now it's middle school, and high school, my grades plummeted because my experience, it was a rough time in my life. And so I felt like and thought that I was not intelligent, that I was not smart. And I carried that belief for years. On top of the growing up in the 60s and 70s, where, for the most part, a woman was expected to just graduate from high school and then look for a good husband, right? We weren't expected to have a life beyond that, or any expectations of our life beyond that. And I remember working with that false belief. And it had to be like my third or fourth year of Masterful Living, and saying something in class about, I have this false belief that I'm just not intelligent. And Jennifer said to me at the time I was working for the ministry, she said, Linda, I would never have hired you if I didn't think you were smart. And it was like, I got it in a way that I never got it before. It's like, oh, yeah, if I'm thinking that I'm not intelligent, what does that say about my opinion about her? Right? So, healing that, I feel, was a huge contribution to my son, who is in college now, in his 30s. He also struggled in high school, and he's been in college about a semester and a half. He's on the dean's list, and I'm like, done. That whole thing about us not being intelligent, gone, completely gone. The work I did healed him as well. You know, not that I get credit for it, but I'm willing to see that that's just, it was not true. It was not true. And he's willing to see that about himself too. So there we have it. Miss Mary
One
Lee.
line that really
Oh, go ahead.
One line
Deborah.
that really hit me on from this reading, and I'm not sure which principle it was in, but it was the statement that sin is the absence of love. I mean, that's really profound.
Yeah. It's just a cry for love. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Deborah. Mary Lee.
Well, something occurred this week to a very close friend that I've actually known for over 40 years. And in the last few months, her sister, who I don't know real well, has been soliciting prayers and talking about how her 36-year-old son had bone cancer, and soliciting prayers and so forth for a miracle for this young man so that he would get over this or something. I don't I guess my mind has just been drawn to them because now my friend is the sister of this mother. The mother lost the son. He did die just 2 days ago, and of the bone cancer. And I just can't express to you how many long emails would come through from the sister. Pray for him, pray for him. And I asked my friend, is there any struggle right now with her faith? Because there was a lot of requests for his healing. So in reading over some of this, on the page 29 there, the number 81 in the reference, the smaller print. Miracles are a form of healing. They supply a lack and are performed by those who have more for those who have less. So I asked my friend, does your sister now look at this as a test of her faith or something? It seems we can get, and I don't know that there's an answer to these questions. It just seems like that we can be challenged to think that an answer to that mother's prayers would be healing, a miracle, that his bone cancer, and yes, he did go through chemotherapy, radiation, as many medications as you can think of, and had the bone cancer about 2.5 years before he succumbed to it 2 days ago. And so in asking my friend, is she going to go through that, like a lack of faith? And my friend said, yeah, there is some of that. I think, how does one talk to someone that has just gone through such a difficult thing as to see her son die at such a young, vibrant age, married with 2 children, you know, work, regular life, seemingly, and then to suddenly have that big void and all the prayers, all the timing. I think a person can get so locked in to the opposite effect of where the direction is going and can feel God has forsaken me. So I'm sure you've probably had this in your lives. How do you comfort someone like that, that has put so much stock into, I'm going to pray this away so that that doesn't happen to my son, and then it did. It's a tough one to know when they feel that they're I guess I wouldn't say they're entitled to a miracle, but they've really been praying for it, and you know, that's not the result. It seems like we can get locked into wanting, you know, do we want the light for her? Right now, she's, I think, in great darkness. If how, like I said, I don't even hardly know how to voice the question.
Yeah, Mary Lee, I would just say that at this time, the best thing you can do for her is just let her know that you are thinking of her, you are there for her. You know, let her know that if she would like to talk about her son, anything about his life, what he meant to her, the little things, you know, that he did when he was a child, you know, because so many people that don't know how to deal with grief will go right into, let's get past this. Well, you're not going to get past this. It's not going to ever end. And yeah, we can have attachments to how the miracles are supposed to show up. That doesn't mean that that's the way that they're going to come. So in my experience, and I can talk through this from a personal space, having lost a baby, and then also talk from my best friend having lost her husband and her son within a couple years of each other. What I found was the best thing for me to do was to let her know, like, look, if I say something wrong and it flares your anger, because I can imagine you would be angry as hell towards God, the universe, everybody that had anything to do with, you know, whatever, yell at me. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what you say to me. I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to come to your house and clean it. I'm going to bring you food. I don't care what you do or say to me right now. I'm allowing you to do or say whatever you need to in order to allow these emotions to, you know, come out and be expressed. So, you know, letting her know that you're there for her is the very best thing. Not trying to discuss with her, you know, your faith will come back, or, you know, there has to be a highest good for, you know, the purpose of why this happened, because all that is just going to feel like an attack. Because people say some really stupid things when people die, and people go away because they don't know what to say. The best thing I have ever said to my friend was, I know I'm going to say stupid shit. I know I'm going to say stupid shit. If I say stupid shit, just call me out. I'm a big girl. I can handle it. And I'm not going anywhere. Anybody else want to? Yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
You know, Marilee, I lost my 43-year-old son several years ago. So I know what this is like. And I'm really grateful for the spiritual grounding that I did have, because I was probably a little easier than some to come to. I know that what I knew at the moment was how much I loved this boy, even though he was so deathly sick, and he didn't help himself here, and I had to I just had to love him where he was at, and knowing, but I knew the highest and best was happening. I knew it, but nobody could say that to me.
Right.
And those who were best for me, who let me talk, the best ones allowed me to tell stories. What do you remember about Adam? And just let me cry. So if you are good and can just let the tears come and sit with them and hear stories and say, tell me a story, that's the best thing you can do, because you're right, Linda. There are no spiritual words we can say to a person at that moment. It would not help, because the people that said to me, oh, he's in a better place, I just wanted to go, screw you. Yeah. So whatever, you've got your heart there, you'll know what to do.
Yeah, and expressing these things to your friend, since this is your friend's sister who is going through this, would probably be super helpful for your friend. And, you know, knowing that she's had a loss too. This is her nephew. So, you know, extending yourself to her so that she has the strength and the ability to extend herself to her sister at this time is the best thing you can do for her. And if you need any help from us, we're here for you.
Seems like when you know someone's feeling really, really awful, you want to somehow make him feel better. And my friend, I realize this is a couple people removed. I'm not personalized friends with her sister. I don't know her as well. I've met her maybe twice in the 40 years or something. But from her letters, it seemed like they were anticipating our son will be spared. And I think that can be, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work to say, well, because of your faith, your son should be spared. Others, no, but yours, yes. That doesn't, I don't see that the way it is in life. I know I will be sending a sympathy card and expressing sadness at her loss. I know their emphasis is exactly what was said. Oh, he's in a better place. You know, be grateful. Things like that. And I don't go there because I don't believe that. That's not part of what I believe, as far as, isn't it a wonderful day? He's been taken from you.
Yeah.
You have this law. Yeah. Like that would be,
Yeah.
if for me, it would be no comfort
Right.
at all, because right now it is a big loss in my experience, meaning if I were her in that.
Yeah. It's just like Gary Renard says, you know, as Course in Miracles students, as people who have, I think, pretty strong faith, we understand these things. It doesn't mean that's always how we react when it's happening to us. But when you're in a situation like you're going through a line at the viewing of a funeral, you're not going to say stuff like that. He says, don't be weird. just say, I'm sorry, give them a hug and let them know you're there for them. Don't be weird and say, well, this is for your highest and best. Really? That would make me want to kick somebody in the teeth if they said that.
Wow.
And anybody
Those-
who's having a human experience would be feeling that.
Those words were the exact words I was thinking, Linda, that don't be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite things that he said in his audiobook. Don't be weird. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that, Mary Lee, because, everybody has experiences with grief, whether it's the physical loss of a loved one or an illness or loss of a job or whatever we're dealing with. There's grief all over this world, and as Americans especially, but as human beings for the most part, we really suck at dealing with that. So yeah, one of the things that came to my mind too is the book called The Impersonal Life, but that wouldn't be something I would recommend right now. But if and ever she comes to a place where she feels like she's ready to delve back into some kind of spiritual space, The Impersonal Life, it's a tiny little book, was really helpful for me when I read it, when Jennifer suggested it, either year 1 or year 2 of Masterful Living. There it is. Thank you, Nancy Gale. Yeah, tiny little book, The Impersonal Life. Anybody else have anything they would like to share? We've got about 8 minutes left.
Could Kathleen hold that up one more time? The book
For Nancy Gale?
or Nancy Gale?
Yeah.
Okay, and who is that written by?
I think Jesus. I think it's a channeled book.
Okay.
Oh, Permission to Mourn by Tom Zuba.
Tom Zuba, Z.
Uba.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nancy Gale.
What I was going to say about this, make sure that you start at the beginning and read that what you're saying. It's like so you don't go to, like I usually take a book and I'll go to the back. It's like, and so you make sure you read it if you're going to read it from the very first, and it even tells you how to read the book. It says to, make sure you read, and it'll tell you till you understand. If you read the search, and then you stop with that until you absolutely understand what it says before you go on further. It tells you how to read the book. So I suggest that you do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it says if you got this, whatever part you're in, and it says once you get this, then go on and I'll give you more. Stuff like that. But that's basically actually true. It's like, it's not a book you go zip right through it. It's like one you have to digest and
Yeah.
little at a
It's a
time.
good bedside read because you can take little tiny chunks of it into your dream time and absorb it better.
Yeah, because it builds. Actually, I'm discovering that now that we're doing that, the first time I'm going through the lessons, listening to Hal every night, it's like I actually see, because it tells the course. Jesus says that in the beginning too,
Yeah.
how you read the course, and it builds. It's like, oh my gosh, it's true.
Yeah. That's why I've been doing it for 13 years.
Yeah, and I love how he says it's like, he's been doing it for years, and he says every time he says, I still need to go back. I still need more lessons to do
Absolutely.
this. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And you
Can
get
I,
so
can
many
I share
different
one?
ways. Yeah, go ahead, honey.
Okay. Um, it's like I can't explain what is happening to me, but it's like on a daily basis, I will have a major realization or aha. And it's just like they're coming, but and each one is like from an experience, whether it's a moment or just a something, and it's like, oh, and it's like, and then Carla put up on in the WhatsApp thing, yes, was it yesterday, Carla? You did the thing of the whatever it was. You asked the question, something about the cage or something. And I responded to that. And that's like, because I am consolidating or gleaning, it's like pieces of my history. I mean, it's such a, I mean, so 80 years is a long time to, and but all the pieces are filling in,
Yes.
and which is really helpful. And people are asking me questions like at the Mastery Circle, like Durham would ask a question, and I said, yes. And then I said, and then it was like, oh my gosh. But Carla said something, I forget, I can't remember, Carla, that the cage, that it said something about the cage. Oh, we're realizing that
You want me to read it?
our thought, it's on
Really short. You will be free when you realize the cage you made is made up of thoughts.
thoughts of your thoughts. And it's like, and that's what I've been saying. It's like, and then I realized my saying was, I want to be free to be me. That's been all of my life. And but I didn't know what I wanted to be. I kept saying it over and over and over. And it's like I didn't know what I wanted to be free from. And it was just like the other day I said, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I said, free. I am free. I wanted to be free from the ego, uh,
Thoughts.
personality, all of that. That's what I wanted to be free from. And
Yeah.
then you just said something about, or somebody just said something about God, God being within. Everything is within.
Mhm.
It's not out there. It's and then oh, the thing with but I didn't know. I mean, I heard the word God. I had no clue. I never even questioned what God was. I just, I was like, and then you said survival mode. I was in the world in that my life stuff, um, trying to survive it, like you said. I had, and like just give me a minute to get this clear. I'm still having trouble consolidating all this. Um, And when Carla said that about the cage, it's like I said, yes, whatever, excellent, perfect. Um, and then the next thing she said cage with a question mark, and I said yes. Um, a room, a cell, a bubble, and something an enclosure. So it's like I was saying, a room. All of them there are walls between me that separated me from people. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking physical and everything. And then, and it's like, but the whole thing was, and then a couple of weeks ago, I was seeing the whole world, everything people are doing, everything is all based on, they're all, whether they know it or not,
Yeah.
they're
We're all
all
connected.
feeling separate.
Absolutely.
And,
Nancy
and
Gail, I'm sorry to stop you, honey, but we're at the top of the hour and I have a spiritual
okay.
counselor
No, that's fine. That's fine.
And I want to let y'all know that we're reading 41 through 44 next week.
Okay,
And,
thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Nancy Gale. Everything it's like coming together, like the puzzle pieces are all starting to fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mary Lou, did you want to say something? Because I noticed you also unmuted.
No, sorry, I
Okay.
just didn't mute back.
That's okay.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here joining us. I'm gonna check really quick. Yeah, this is a short one. Okay, I'm gonna read as quickly as I can the insights for from Pathways of Light of lesson 44. God is the light in which I see, because it really ties in with what we read today for today. The light of God is always there in our minds. It is not outside. We may not be aware of it, but it never really goes away. In truth, the light of God is all there is to see. If we choose to hide from it, we will not experience it. Today's lesson involves accepting the light that is always there, accepting the love that is always there. There is never any coercion to make us accept the light. There's never any coercion to make us accept the light. It is there when we choose it. When we deny the light through dissociation, we do not experience it. It is all about willingness. As I practice today, I expand my willingness to accept the light of God a little more. Jesus asked me to consistently practice this lesson. He knows that it is one of the most important things I can do. Accepting the light I am helps me see that the light of God is all there is to see. There are no problems in the light, only peace, joy, and happiness. I can relax now. I accept the means to return to the light as I practice it with willingness today. Today's lesson is teaching me a new way of seeing. It's pointing out that what I have called seeing is not really seeing at all. By telling me that the light for seeing is not outside of me, it tells me that all the things I think I see with the body's eyes are not really seeing. In fact, by saying the equipment for seeing is not outside of me, it's telling me that the body's eyes are not the means for seeing that it is talking about here. So it must be talking about an inner seeing, a metaphysical seeing beyond the physical. In other parts of the Course, it tells me that the body was made as a fence or a cage to keep God and other parts out, to wall off a private domain I could call my own. Yet this private domain is achieved at the cost of seeing. I cannot believe that a private domain with a private thought and a unique identity is real and experience the unity of God's love. That's why our stories, they don't mean a damn thing. This lesson is the beginning of practice in sinking past the fence to allow a taste of the freedom that comes with accepting God's unifying love. It is always there. My only job is to let go of trying to use the wrong equipment and choose the light of God as my source of seeing. It is a process of letting go of what I have valued in error and accepting that the most important thing I can do is to accept the light of God that is already in me, is me. God is the light in which I see. In God's light, I see only innocence, only safety, only love and unity. That is my goal. As I set my intention to connect with the light within, I begin to watch the thoughts my mind produces. I watch the parade of thoughts come and go, rise and fall, and I simply let it be. As I allow my mind to detach itself from these thoughts, the natural state of my inner peace begins to emerge. The light of my beingness begins to grow and expand and fill my awareness with this inner light. There is only perfect peace, perfect holiness, perfect serenity. This is the peace that passeth all understanding. In this place, I am perfect, whole, and complete. I choose today to go to this place of my inner peace often to remind me of the truth of myself and my brothers. God is the light in which I see. As I choose to remember that God lives within me and I am an extension of His, I realize that I need to allow His sight from within me to light my way and look through the eyes of love rather than my physical eyes for all my decisions in life that I make. When I choose to see only love through my eyes and really be conscious of His presence within me to lead the way in all I do and say, I will be seeing through the eyes of God and not my own. To see through the eyes of God is to only see love in all I do and only see patience and grace in everything I say and do. To see through the eyes of God and allow Him to light my way, I am living in a state of grace and peace. What a way to live. Amen to that. Thank you so much, everybody. I love you.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks, Linda. Love you.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you too. See y'all next week.
Now.
Bye.